it's Fawn and welcome back to my channel. Yay! Today we are going to be designing my design process and designing my new D&D character because I had recently watched a video by Sketches of Shay, who designed her very cool Knight Sona. When that was happening, I had a new D&D character locked and loaded, a padlock, so paladin warlock called Vidalia for my next campaign, but then the DM said, actually guys, what if it was cowboys? And so I decided to make a new character and show my design process alongside that. Set the scene and tell you about my new character, who I still don't have a name for, by the way. There was a part of a traveling circus, adopted at a young age. All she knew was that life, till one day they were attacked by bandits. In a panic, she grabbed the first thing she saw to defend herself, a spear tossed to the side. The second her hand touched the spear, a voice in her said, "Hello, who are you?" The terror of the dead son. But enough about me. You're desperate and your family's only hope. No one grabs me unless they're desperate, and no one can use me unless hope is finally fading. So let me help you. She paused for a minute. Yes, please help me. The second she opened her eyes, she sees what she's done. A massacre, and what's left of the troop is in horror. She was no longer the girl they once knew. Terrified, they cast her out, and she now wanders from town to town, accomplishing the terror of the sun's will in hopes that one day she'll be rid of it and finally be able to rejoin her troop. So that was a lot, but I think it set the mood very nicely. My DM provided a little bit more backstory and stuff, so I incorporated a little bit of stuff in there, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So all of that and her backstory, let's get creating! Yay! So for me, whenever I start drawings, you saw that sketchbook page, it was very fashion focused. Most of my D&D characters are very inspired by, all my Pinterest boards for their characters are very high fashion runway, inspired, super dramatic fashion and super interesting. A lot of the time I do try to keep in mind of movement and how they're able to move in certain things, but usually all of my characters are fashion icons, and there was definitely a lot going on with this that I could have leaned into. I leaned most heavy into goofy clown shapes and clothes with high collared netlines and boots to feel very much cowboy-y. I wanted the outfit to look like ex-clown, but kind of faded and well worn into a more cowboy traveling person. But I also can't stay away from bright colors, so her outfit is definitely bright and colorful, and I love it. Some of my favorite clown details to add in were puffs and those weird trims, the spikes with little puff balls on the end. And stripes and stars fit very well with cowboys, but also with clouds, so I added those in a lot too. I also couldn't really decide on a race for this character to be. I was thinking maybe a tiefling, but I ended up just going with human because I said, wow, that's actually pretty rare because no one ever chooses human as their race. So when I started researching Hexblade Warlock, I found out that human is one of the more recommended races, and it worked out great. Definitely because of those pluses that they get into all of their things. So moving into the more final design, I incorporated most from the fourth and a bit from the second. 1 and 3 were nice, but not really what I was going for. I recently watched Poor Things, and that was definitely in my mind when picking the colors and adding bows and frills. Emma Stone's character had so many cool outfits going on. I loved the outfits in that movie. But also, besides the outfit, the spear was really interesting and great to design. I didn't even think about that when I was coming up with my character, that I would have to design a spear. Obviously, I don't need to, but I needed to. So I really wanted to go for a haunted or possessed spear. So I kind of went for this eyeball thing, but then I also wanted it to talk. I wanted the eyeball to move around in my mind. But I ended up seeing these dragon cannons on Pinterest, and I said, okay, no, that's what I'm going with, and the spear is going to be coming out of the mouth. So that's what I ended up going with. I thought about making the spear very spooky, but because it's a demon pact, I thought it'd be interesting that after it's attuned to her, it takes on her appearance, at least a little bit color-wise. So now I'm going to be talking a bit about the lore and my art process for this little illustration that I'm working on. So for most of my pieces lately, I start by using Faber-Castell's watercolor pencils, usually in orange, and then I go in with darker colors and stuff. I usually just stick to very just simple colors because I do all of my colors digitally. After that, I go in with my Tombow blending pen, and I kind of smooth it and make it all watercolor and nice, and then I just take a picture and I go into Procreate and clear away the background. So I start by putting the colors I want on a clipping mask and setting it to overlay, and I play around with the opacity a little bit. And then I'll usually add 1 to 4 more layers using different opacity and settings to kind of get the color I want while keeping that texture. So I'm not just coloring over the sketch I did traditionally and losing all of that beautiful traditional texture. So now let's go on to the brushes I use, since the brush I use the most when I'm doing this is from the Jing Sketch Basic. It's free, but the brush is called Edge Control. I like it because it has texture, but it also has such a fine edge that it just works great, and it's very looks very traditional in a way. From that set, I also use the flat square for blocking out big areas in color. Thin ink and soft chalk I use for added texture, and a lot of the times I use soft chalk for hair, which is really nice. And the detail work I use, like adding thin lines for like hair or doing eyelashes and eyebrows, I use Procreate's very own 6B pencil, which I love. But now into the lore. So this was all written by my DM Aiden, so shout out to him. We are in a cowboy / steampunk world where there are boats and other machinery, but people will oftentimes travel by mount through the Badlands. Our party hails from Crinklecroft in the desert of Dead Sun between the infernal mountains and crystalline sea. Law is easy to break and it's easy to slip between the cracks, but things crack down when taxes need to get paid. And with the river starting to run dry, money's hard to come by. So our party decided to rob a train that's supposedly filled with gold and riches from a rich town called Yer Leone. It's protected by Sheriff Brimstone. The people of Dead Sun are divided into different gods they worship. The 3 of the gods being Krana the Red, she is the blazing sun. Most people worship them, and their main ideology is people, civilization, progress, and power. Dalma the Blue, they are the endless night. Their domains are nature, serenity, mystery, death, and knowledge. And Alta the Gold, the moving cycle, powerful emotions, rage, love, vengeance, hope, willpower, and freedom. And because this is a very religious desert, non-magic is rare and non-holy magic is rare and cast out, which is why my warlock was cast out by her band of misfits, because no one wants to touch or deal with that. I kind of was imagining that she would be from Krana the Red, people, civilization, progress, power, circus, going from place to place. And maybe now she goes more with Alta, freedom, hope, vengeance. But also she uses evil magic, so she's probably not allowed to worship any of these. Yeah, I didn't even realize while writing my backstory for this campaign that I was not necessarily pick me, but I was so edgy. If I had seen this before I started coming up with the character idea that I had gotten attached to, I probably would have gone more religious, more more a part of the world, instead of just being so edgy outcast, because I usually play I usually try and go along with what everyone's doing. But yeah, now I am an edgy outcast. I decided to pick Warlock because I really wanted to, but also Hexblade because I wanted to. We don't really have a tank or a healer, so it was between those two, and I had played Cleric before, and I could have fit into this world so nicely, worshiping God and not being cast out, but picked the wrong choice, and now it's too late to go back. Yeah. holy magic is so like reveled that any unholy magic is like, you don't practice it, you don't do it, because punishment for that is death or worse. That is what it says verbatim. Death or worse. Thank you, Aiden. And back to Sheriff Brimstone. He is a radicalist who believes there's no fixing the dead sun and is Frankensteining a monster god to fix the desert. And us going on that train and robbing the train accidentally gets us wrapped up in a plot to stop him from destroying the dead sun. So that was a little bit about my new D&D character, the lore, and a bit about my process when making fun little illustrations like that. I hope you guys enjoyed. This was like a really fun process to do. Like, I love drawing little characters and stuff, and I've actually really wanted to do like a make a D&D character with me for a while. So after watching that Sketches of Shay video and being so inspired and having to scrap the D&D character I had just made, it felt like the perfect time, right? Yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comments below and what you think I should name this character, because I'm still very like unsure of what to name this character. I wrote down a list in my sketchbook. So we have Red Ruby Star. That was more like Deadeye, loner, like travels the Badlands type thing. I mean, she's kind of like that now. There's Aubin, Florent, Purdy, Margot, Capri, and then Ferris. If any of those sound good, or if you guys have any ideas, let me know in the comments below. I feel like that's the hardest part about making a D&D character, naming them. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed and you like my character. Hopefully I'm signing up for an expo my school is hosting, and I will be able to sell art and hopefully prints and stickers of her there. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye!